Hello, Leo. It's your turn for your relationship reading. Hope you all are doing well. No, Leos have gone through so many changes this past few weeks, months. They're dealing with a lot of things, a lot of changes. Anyways, first card is your current position in the relationship. So this could be you or another person you're dealing with. This is a general reading, so it can either go either or, however it resonates to you. May not resonate, which is fine, and it is for general few. So anyways, let's just leave it there. You have, for your current position in the relationship, whether you're single or in a relationship, either or, you have the Page of Swords in reverse. This is a young air energy. It's also about, closing a chapter in your life. A lot of people don't really say that, but I feel like it's more about closing chapters, especially in reverse. So maybe you're closing a chapter when it comes to, a love dynamic, a love situation. Maybe you're receiving a message from someone in the past, possibly. It's in reverse, so who knows. But I feel like this card is saying closing chapters on something. Maybe you're going through a legal battle or something of that nature. You're seeing someone going through a legal battle, but I just feel like closing a chapter. I don't know why. Usually I don't feel that with that. Usually that's the messenger card, but I don't know. I feel like you're closing a chapter on something. And then the second card is a challenge, which is the Lover's card. It is a card about Gemini. It is about twin flame dynamic soulmate. Maybe you're dealing with someone when in regards to your relationship who's a Gemini or a twin flame dynamic. Sorry. But with closing a chapter, I feel like when it comes to love in general, I feel like a lot of you Leos have been struggling with the concept of love. Like, what is love? Maybe you're questioning, your relationship. Maybe there's things within your relationship that needs to end, needs to close. And I don't mean the relationship itself. I just feel like there needs to be a balance when it comes to how you feel about love. And I think a lot of you have been struggling with that. Like, what is love in general? I think we get caught up in, that idea of what love is, but we don't really perceive it in the right manner. I think a lot of it, I think your reading for this month in general was about perceptions. So maybe you're having different ideas about love. Maybe, you've really grown. I feel like a lot of Leos have grown into their own. But with that being the challenge, I think it's an indication, there has to be, balances to the relationship. Maybe a balance, maybe you have to see something in order to close something. I don't know. Close an idea, I feel like. Alright, so the third card is your Strength card. So I feel like maybe you're in resistance to change. This is about decisions also. It's also being self-aware of things that maybe you've got something blocked off where you can't see when it comes to, these strong, intimate connections, that maybe you're blocking yourself with you and a significant other where you're not really giving fully to this relationship. Maybe you that are single, you really don't want to accept love in your life, love offers, love in general. And I feel like, it keeps coming up that, when you've closed your eye or close yourself off so much to reality that, there's always going to be you at the end of the day. No matter when it comes to our deepest intimate relationships, you have to learn what it is to love yourself, to go within and be mother yourself, love yourself, accept yourself to the highest potential. And I feel like it's just hard sometimes when we're not really giving to ourselves. We're not really, trying to understand where the other one's coming from. But I feel like it's very significant to, open your heart to the reality of loving yourself again, learning what that is to love yourself in a love dynamic. Alright, your past influence is a Hermit card. So very possibly you could be dealing with a Virgo. I feel like a lot of you have maybe walked away from a love dynamic or walked away from this Virgo who, or you could possibly have Virgo in your chart. I feel like you're trying to isolate yourself from reality of this love connection, and I feel strongly this is more about you than the other person. I just feel like you're closed off, you're isolated from the idea of what love can bring to you. I feel like for some time maybe you've closed yourself off from this person, isolated. But I feel like, the Hermit teaches us to go within. The Hermit teaches us to analyze everything about the relationship that is not working. So all you can do is really focus on what is important to you, what are you going to accept. And I feel like it's more about the journey, the self-undoing journey of yourself, of how to truly accept yourself, every facet of life. And then you got the Three of Cups in reverse, wait, that was your past. I'm sorry, I was trying to go along with the story. That's your past influence. So maybe in past influence you had to isolate yourself from love. You've had to escape reality. Alright, now coming into the future influence of the relationship is the Three of Cups in reverse. So, that is this friendship card, that celebration card, that is partnerships card. And I feel like I'm still getting that. You have to really be true to yourself. You have to really be true to the other one, as more importantly to yourself. But I feel like you're coming against people where there's an imbalance when it comes to a love dynamic. And I think it's easy to get caught up in what works, what doesn't work, when you have to focus on loving yourself just as much as you give to these relationships, because I feel like there can be some blocks, there can be some imbalances when you don't fully give to yourself. And Leos are pretty good generally to self-care, but I think there's part of me that feels like we don't really understand what true love is and how we identify with true love when we don't really truly fully commit to loving ourselves first. And then we can experience loving others and letting people come into our lives. And I feel like that's been probably the biggest hiccup. We can get distracted with our obligations of what we have to do in the relationship that we forget to take care of ourselves. Alright, the outcome is a Ten of Swords. So maybe you were feeling like you carried weight too much. Maybe you felt a little bit betrayal in the past with a love dynamic that really got you struggling on how you even view love. And I feel like a lot of Leos, have examined that. And I feel like you don't want to get in this place that you're feeling like you can't give to this situation. You can't give to love because you've been hurt so many times. You can't open up. That's something you don't want to do. And I feel like a lot of you have blocked your, you know, you really need to step into your heart space. You really need to open your heart just a little bit. It doesn't have to be just giving yourself completely to another person. But I feel like at the end of the day, like I said, you have to learn what it is to love yourself first before you can love another. And I feel like where you guys are getting stuck is the past experience. A lot of Leos that I've known and came across, you get stuck in this victim mentality that, how am I supposed to give to you if I don't give to myself? Like, you're kind of torn between the two. And, in order to open your heart up a little bit, you have to remove these swords, these past traumas, past events. You have to go within. And I feel like maybe some of you that has been the hiccup in your relationships, whether you're in a relationship or not, is learning how to heal, is learning how to use this hermit energy to really carefully learn to re-love yourself. You may have not had a parent who was there 100% for you. Maybe this parent was a Virgo, and therefore you grew up not knowing what love is because that parent wasn't there as a child, and so you had to step up as a role and be that person that was always there for someone. And so if you grow up not knowing what love is, then you block yourself sometimes because you don't want to get hurt. You don't want to feel the pain. You don't want to experience. But I feel like the clear message here is to relearn and reestablish yourself of what is love and how can you move forward in a relationship. I feel like some of you, who are single, you are focused on you're focused on making that money, but also too, some of you can't even open your heart for people because of past experience. You're like, I can't do that again because someone betrayed me. I can't do this because someone's abandoned me. I can't do this again because I don't want to keep feeling hurt. And I'm not saying in any way that's wrong. I'm just saying you still have a lot to go through. You still have a lot to process. You still have a lot to heal in order to experience the lovers, in order to experience what it is to love yourself. So I feel like with this is the message, it's deep. You have to get deep. So in order to properly heal when it comes to the whole experience of what is love, how do you define love? Is it gender? Is it race? Is it what you always grew up thinking of what love is? Because honestly, love is pure. Love it's not going to restrain you from anything. Love, there's no limit, there's no rules, there should no be restriction. And I feel like when you get into these Tens of Swords, it's easy to feel betrayed by others, by every time they hurt you in any way, they threaten you. But ultimately, you've got to learn to heal. You've got to learn to address these things in order to heal. So I hope that's of comfort to some of you out there who experience trauma, pain. You've got to do healing before you can move on in a relationship. You really got to examine, why are you with this person? Or if you're single, you've got to heal from this betrayal. Anyways, bye-bye.